Hey, this is Ermy Pedata from thelanguageers.com, and today I have a very special guest with me. It's Claire Hearn from Miss Brittany. Claire Hearn is a former police officer and award-winning entrepreneur who in 2018 changed her life and moved solo from London to Salerno in Italy. And she's going to tell us about her Italian adventure. Ciao, Claire!
Wow, thank you for having me.
I'm so excited to speak to you because I think that your story will really resonate with some people that are watching my channel. So I know that right now you are in Salerno. So how is it there? Is it very hot?
It's boiling. Oh my goodness, it's like 33, 34 degrees centigrade. It's really hot. But the problem here is that we have really high humidity. So it makes it unbearably hot, really, in the afternoons, especially.
I know because I am from Naples and every time I go back home, it's the same thing.
Yes.
So you are not from Salerno though. You are
No.
British. So when did you decide to move to Italy?
Okay, so I'm originally from London
Yeah.
and I first came to Italy in 2017.
Mhm.
And this was my very first time ever visiting the country. I went to a little town called Meta, which is near Sorrento, and I instantly felt a connection. It's the craziest thing. I can never explain it well enough without people thinking I'm insane, but I
Mhm.
felt this inner connection. And I was at a crossroads in my life where I wanted to make some personal changes. I had my own business at that point and I was working pretty much 7 days a week nonstop. And I
Mhm.
kind of felt like I wanted to rediscover what my life was and
Mm.
rediscover my happiness. And it kind of fed into that holiday, really. It was that moment where the seed was sown.
Okay, so it was like a crossroad in your life, and then you decided to move to Sorrento, or was it somewhere else?
Salerno, no, no, no. So I had the holiday near Sorrento and then I came back to the UK afterwards. And this was like the August of 2017. And I came back and I couldn't quite shake the idea of wanting to move to Italy. And I did go back to Naples actually in the autumn of that year just to experience a city that wasn't a million miles away.
Yes.
And I still had the same feeling.
Yeah.
And so really I decided the 1st of January 2018, that was the point where I was like, do you know what? This is something I have to do. And so it was there really that I started to form the plan to move here.
Right. So you visited that area twice before making your plan.
Yeah, so like
Yeah.
the holiday was in Meta near Sorrento, and then I went back to Naples just for a weekend, not for any extensive amount of time. And it was between the two of those that
Yes.
I decided that I was ready to make this like more permanent.
Excellent. So I love that you shared that, you felt instant connection with where where you went for the first time in Sorrento.
Mhm.
And I do feel that I'm kind of the same when I go to places. Like sometimes I do feel like, oh, I really like this place.
Yeah, you kind of know, don't you? Like, I'm not silly. Like, I know that going on holiday is completely different to what everyday life is like. But it was just a feeling, it was a connection. And you just kind of know when you know, that's
Mhm,
it.
mhm. Yeah. And so you went to Sorrento, you went to Naples. So how come did you specifically choose to be in Salerno now?
Yeah, it's kind of a bit divine, I think. So I made the decision on the 1st of January 2018 that I wanted to move to Salerno. Well, no, to Italy, sorry. And I basically started to look into ways that I could make it happen. And I came across a website called Workaware, which is where you can do like cultural exchanges. And they have them all over the world, including Italy, of course. And I applied to a few different ones. And they have a mixture of different things you can do. It's not just language exchange, it could be childminding, it could be helping with business, agriculture, etc.
Mhm.
And I basically applied for a few around Italy. I didn't hear anything back. And then I discovered one in Salerno. And I did my research. I looked on the map and I realized it wasn't a million miles away from where I'd been on holiday. And I really felt a connection with that part of Italy. So I was like, okay, why not? Let me just email and find out. And I basically got the connection through Workaway. I came to Salerno for 4 weeks in at the end of February of 2018. So all of March I was in Salerno. I stayed with an Italian girl and her family. I taught English to her. And it was there in those 4 weeks that I realized how much I loved it here. So I kind of started to form my life in that time.
I understand. Yes. Oh, that's very nice.
Yes.
And when you decided to move, right? I guess it
Mm-hmm.
was a big step for you.
Yes.
Yeah. So what steps did you take to start, say, hey, I have this dream of living in Italy. I know that this is the right place. What were the steps you took to make the dream come true?
No, I'm quite a spiritual. Yeah, no, definitely. I'm quite a spiritual person. And basically, I was reading a book at the time called Asking It Is Given by Esther and Jerry Hicks.
I
And
love that
they, oh,
book.
do you know it? When you know.
But
Yes.
you know, you're right.
There you go. And there's a technique in that book called scripting. And I used that process to move to Italy. I literally wrote down exactly how I wanted my life to look, but I wrote it as if it were my life at the time, because that's the power of this technique. And I remember I wrote, oh, I have an amazing job in Italy that teaches me about Italian life. I have friends. I have a romantic connection. I'm rediscovering my joy. I wrote it all. And it was through doing that that I started to get little ideas as to the next step that I could take. And I only discovered Workaway because I had the idea to join an expat group on Facebook, specifically for expats in Italy. And someone mentioned in that expat group about Workaway. So it's kind of how that led me onto that website, because I didn't know it even existed. And it's a subscription site, so you have to pay for the year. And at the time, I was like, oh, I don't know if I want to make that commitment. And then I remembered I had a currency card from my holiday in Italy that had the exact amount of the subscription fee left on that card as a balance. Divine. So I paid it, and yeah, the rest is history.
Oh, this is amazing. Can I
Yes.
just take this opportunity because I what I love to teach my student is creative techniques that help them to practice Italian.
Yes.
And I do
Mm-hmm.
believe that scripting is an excellent way to practice your Italian because I love scripting and I
Mm-hmm.
do it in different languages, the ones that I know. So for the ones that don't know, what is scripting? You can tell a little bit how you do it.
Yeah, no, definitely. So basically, I took a journal and I literally had in my head all the ideas that I wanted for my life in Italy. And I literally just wrote it down. It was like writing a story. That's the only way I can describe it, except I was writing the life I wanted to create as if it were my life now. So I wasn't writing, oh, one day I will do this. I was saying, I live in Italy. I have an amazing job. I do this. I do that. I was literally writing as if it were my life. And what I would do is I would read that script every single day. And I
Mm.
would try to read it in the morning, but if not at night. Every single day, I would read that script and I would feel into the emotion of the words. I would be like, okay, this is my life. And it's kind of funny because that's when I had those like little moments of inspiration about what to do next. It was kind of like I was being guided onto that path
Mm.
from having written that script, because
Yeah.
it gave me focus and clarity.
Yeah, I do believe it's very true. It does give you focus and clarity because when you write something, you're very focused. And then
Yes.
it's cool because then when you read it again, sometimes I don't know, this is what happened to me. Other things comes up, and so sometimes I change it. So I say, oh, I'd like this to the, this way.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
So it's other things start coming to you. So I think
Isn't
it's
it
really
so
cool.
powerful? Because like I read back over that script, that original script that I'd written on the 1st of January 2018. I read it over again in the autumn of that year. And about 80% of it was actually my life. I had the job
Oh.
that gave me the experience. I had the romantic relationship. I had
Mhm.
the friends. It was amazing. So it's a very powerful technique.
Yeah, it is. And it gives you focus and also the determination in a way to pursue what you
Yes.
want and the clarity,
Yes.
because I think most people do need clarity. Sometimes people don't know what they actually want. So
Yes,
writing it down gives you the clarity, and then by having the clarity, you can pursue it. But
definitely.
going back to your journey in Italy, so
Yes.
how, because I know that I'm Italian, I live here in the UK, and
Mhm.
when I moved here, but still sometimes now, for me as someone not from this country, there have been challenging moments.
Mhm.
So, what is the biggest challenge you had to overcome?
Language. Language was the biggest challenge and still is to a degree to this day. And I think I totally underestimated just how much of a problem it would cause me, because I literally came from London, this really bubbly, independent woman, like, loving, I love to have a chit chat, conversation, like, and then I arrived and I was like, oh, I'm in the south of Italy. Not many people speak English here. I can't speak. And I literally went overnight to an actual mute. I couldn't express my personality. My boyfriend, who I met, we began communicating using Google Translate. My life completely 360'd. And at the time, it was very difficult for me. And I think it kind of led to me having a bit of a breakdown over 2019, because I I realized I lost myself. I didn't have the independence I once had because I couldn't communicate and understand what was going on around me. And I wasn't able to form the connections with people in the same way as I had been back in the UK, because I couldn't be understood. Like, it was difficult.
Yeah, I totally understand. And also because I personally learned English before coming to the UK. And
Yeah.
still, when I came here, I remembered my first year here. It was really hard for me to communicate anyway, even though I had studied it. Because it was people spoke with an accent. It was difficult for me to understand. I used to live in Coventry,
Oh,
so yeah, people there got really strong accent, and
yes.
it was challenging. So yeah, I can totally understand when you say that it's been, hard for you. And
I,
how is it
I
going now for
appreciate this.
you?
Piano, slowly, slowly. I definitely understood more. I understand more now than I did at the beginning, that's for sure. I can kind of have broken conversations with people. Like, it's not the perfect Italian, but then I don't think it necessarily needs to be at the beginning. It's just important to be understood and to feel a sense of satisfaction that people can actually understand you. Um,
Yeah.
but it's not been easy. There have been challenges to do, particularly with like trying to learn yourself without the aid of a teacher. That's been challenging for me. But yeah, slowly, slowly, I can feel myself starting to make progress. But it's not an overnight thing. I think everybody's different when it comes to learning a language.
Yeah, it's definitely not an overnight thing. It
Yeah.
does take time and, consistency.
It does.
But
And one thing I'll say about that as well, like, I actually found myself coming into contact with people who were actually a little bit judgmental, that I'd been living here for, I don't know, at the point, I think it was about 3 years when I met these people. And they were saying, like, how can you not speak the language after 3 years? And I think people forget, like, to learn a language, it's not easy, especially when you have a schedule and you have a routine and you have other things you have to do. And also, as an adult as well, I kind of feel we're not in the mindset to study as we were when we were at school, perhaps. So I kind of want to say this because a lot of people beat themselves up for not having learned the language sooner, but it's a process. And I have come to really understand that in the past year. And now I'm more accepting of my own journey than I was in the past.
yeah, so this kind of leads me to my next question actually, because Are there any things that you would have done uh, before moving to Italy, and especially?
Yes, I would have started sooner. I would have literally begun from back in the UK to start learning vocabulary, to start learning simple phrases, to watch YouTube videos. I would have started my learning earlier. I think that's the honest truth. I think sometimes, especially when you speak English, you take it for granted. You think it's spoken all around the world, but it isn't. And especially in Italy, Italy is like two countries within one. In the north of Italy, maybe in Milan, in Rome, you might be able to get away with not speaking Italian because there are more English speakers. But in the south, especially where I am, forget it. Like, you are in the minority if you speak English here. So I definitely took that for granted, and I wish that I could have studied a bit harder when I was back in the UK at the very beginning.
Yeah. And how has your study process been?
My study process has been a bit like a roller coaster. I've had waves of motivation and self-study. I've bought the books and, like, really been motivated. And then I've kind of dropped off because I've been so busy with work and my own YouTube channel and other things that I do. So it's kind of been a bit of a roller coaster process. But I think that now I've kind of come to an understanding that little and often is better than trying to do like 1 hour lessons every single day. Like, that has been the biggest thing. I read a book this year, Atomic Habits by James Clear, and it's an incredible book. But the one thing I took away from it is that little actions have a long-term effect and a long-term impact, more so than trying to do big grandiose gestures. So that's something that I'm trying to apply to my language learning.
That's really cool. By the way, I am in the process of reading that book too. We like the same book. That's
Ah,
really good.
yes. It's a
Um,
fabulous book. I won't give too much away, but it's completely changed like the way I live my life, definitely.
One of the things that I always stress with my students is about that they have to be consistent. And you may say, I want to do Italian. However, if you just do it once a week and then the week after you don't do it, or still once a week is not enough because the brain needs repetition in order to remember, because if you don't use it, then you will forget it very easily. By the way, for more insight on how Claire learned Italian and what tips I gave her to improve her Italian, go check out the interview I did with her on her channel, Miss Brittany. And can I ask, what does your regular day of your Italian life look like? If you have a regular day, I don't know.
um, it's kind of season dependent. Like, now we are kind of winding down. August in Italy is
Yeah.
kind of a bit of a dead month, if you like. Like, a lot of
Yes.
people go on holiday. We have a big Ferragosto celebration where a lot of businesses are closed. So kind of now my teaching is slowing down a little, but on a regular day, if we were to take it, I don't know, for spring, for example, I wake up early. I'm an early bird. I'm up like 5:30, 6 a.m. in the morning. But in the summer, this is perfect because it's the coolest time of the day. And so I enjoy that moment of stillness just to send to me before I start my day. And then I'm teaching. I have a lot of students that I teach English to. And when I'm not teaching, I'm filming videos for my YouTube channel. I'm trying to learn Italian. I'm doing my own stuff, like spending time with my boyfriend, spending time with my friends. This is my day. Like, I spend a lot of time working here. I would probably say that's the predominant way that I spend my time here in Italy.
Okay, sounds really nice. So I know that there are some people from the UK, they are probably watching this, and they
Mm-hmm.
probably have the same dream that you have to live in Italy.
Mm-hmm.
So, what would you say to someone who would like to do the same as you? What are the first step they should take?
Okay, I would say it's a bit different now because of Brexit. This is the first thing. And Brexit was a big motivator for me because I knew that once Brexit happened, it wouldn't be as easy to come and live here in Italy. Consider before, when we were part of the EU, you could come here and get a job with no problem. But now you need to be sponsored with a visa to be able to work here for a school, for example, if that's the route you want to take, or even for any other company, you need to have a visa. And you can only spend a certain amount of time here. in any given period before you have to go back to the UK without a visa. So it's very different now. And I'm not going to say it's impossible, because I'm a big believer that nothing is impossible in life if you really, put your mind to it. But
Yes.
it's certainly a bit more complicated now. You have to do your research. You have to find a company who is willing to sponsor you. And I know that there is a digital nomad visa, which is a fairly new addition to Italy, but I know it's still being fleshed out at the moment. I'm not sure if it's fully finalized, but this could be a way, if you work on a remote basis, this could be a way that you could come here and experience life here before deciding whether you want to settle down with an Italian company. There's options, but it's not as easy. You need to do your research, is what I would say.
Yeah, and would you have any website to advise for this research if you have any?
I would say gov.uk website is a great resource for living in Italy. I used it a lot when I moved here, and it gives recommendations for the process you need to follow if you want to move here post Brexit. So I would say if you're based in the UK, use that as your initial starting point. It will give you further links and resources to research if this is the route that you want to take.
That's amazing. Thank you so much. And
Thank you.
I'd love you to tell us where people can learn more about you,
Yeah,
wherever
definitely.
you
I'm on
are.
Instagram. I'm on Instagram, Ms. Brutally, and also I have a YouTube channel where I kind of share my experiences of expat life, and also I show you real Italy. I'm really passionate about showing you what real Italy is like, and not just the tourist brochures. So yeah, Ms. Brutally is my YouTube channel.
Thank you so much, Claire. It was
Thank
great.
you.
And guys, if you do have the dream to live in Italy, this lady, she's done it. She may have said that it might be a little bit more difficult now, but it's still possible. So do follow your dream.
Thank you.
Ciao.
Ciao.